It is so fucking warm, global warming will kill us all. Hello everybody, my name is Xander, and today I'm taking a look at this new King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard album, Infest, the Rat's Nest. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, the legendary, experimental, progressive, sometimes psychedelic rock band from Australia. Now this isn't actually their first album this year. Back in April we got Fishing for Fishies, which ultimately I didn't enjoy too much. It felt like a lesser version of like an early King Crimson album, just replaced the saxophones with harmonicas, if that makes any sense. And I'm not entirely sure what it was about it. Maybe it was the overly long musical passages where little happened, but I just didn't find it gripping me the way I wanted it to. But one thing from that album cycle that really caught my eye, or ears, was this one track, Planet B. Now at the time, I thought this was nothing more than an exciting teaser track to generate buzz for the album. But oh, I was wrong. You see, when I turned on this album, my ears were delighted to find out that it's just thrash. Straight thrash, front to back, no gimmicks, just straight up classic thrash metal. But instead of being the overly down-tuned, lifelessly aggressive, flawlessly produced trash that's coming out nowadays, it's got the sheer talent of King Giz behind it, and that isn't all it has going for it. The first thing that really sticks out to me is the guitar tones. Instead of being overly distorted and lifelessly down-tuned, they're actually quite high-pitched sometimes, and occasionally winding up to these ridiculously high-pitched squeals above the mix. Oh, and for those of you that like the last album, the harmonica returns. And it isn't just the production, the actual composition is also stellar, as expected. This is helped along tremendously by the structure of the songs, and the vocals, with loud abrasive vocals followed by ridiculous guitar tunings going into super hyper miniature breakdowns, all accompanied by these amazing drum grooves, which we'll get to. That really gives every track an exciting energy to them. And with the moderately short runtime, there is no excuse to stop listening. It's an album that invites you to listen to it all the way through, and you would be rewarded for doing so. You see, there's an actual story throughout all of this. Similar to the last album, it's about the destruction of the environment, but taking a much different approach. The album starts out with the original teaser track, Planet B, just saying, "This is all we got, let's stop fucking this up." But it's quickly followed up with absurdist storytelling about how the rich are travelling to Mars to escape the problems that they created, managing to touch upon relevant issues of both class divisions and environmentalism in one go. But it doesn't come off as preachy. With its absurdist premise, you take all of it with a grain of salt, while still taking out the very real, very scary messages it has. And there's a real journey you go on throughout it, starting on Earth, going to Mars, and ending in the gates of hell. Long story. I only wish it had had a better ending. It kind of says, cool, you're in hell, let's murder some dudes, but doesn't properly conclude the narrative in my opinion. Now, this may actually be the point, just saying the rich kind of won. There isn't a happy ending. The Earth's gone. We're fucked. But I still probably would have liked to see it. Now at this point I should tell you that the album was released alongside a game that came out, that shows the proverbial rat's nest we are supposed to be infesting. To be a games review channel for a second, I'll say that it was pretty fun the first few times trying to work out how it works. But once you've played it for 10 minutes, there's really no reason to go back to it. Although even with its baby simple combat, I can tell you that the music behind it is great for pumping up your blood and getting ready to just fucking murder hordes of rats. But back to the product I'm actually reviewing. Like I said, the absurdist narrative works great as a piece of political satire, and I dare to say this is one of the better punk albums of the last, I don't know, 5 years. It's unapologetically relentless with its criticisms, and its tongue-in-cheek natures allows it to put across some great ideas without ever falling into the realm of just, "this is the problem" lyrics. But moving back to the instrumentals itself, one thing that I really enjoyed on this album was the drums. There are plenty of amazing blast beats on show, but the drummer also shows a lot of restraint. There are a lot of quieter, subtle sections that don't have any drums at all, and a few with rather quiet ride sections. This is what truly gives the album its energy at times, on top of the vocals. Who would have thought listening to their previous material that they'd be able to get such good thrash metal vocals? But they were certainly able to do so. It's the classic heavy metal style, slightly gruff, not entirely screaming, but still loud and aggressive singing vocal style that works great both the melodic sections and the narrative sections where they're telling the story. And like I said earlier, blends just great with the guitars. I really don't know what else I can say about this album. It's just great in every possible way it could be. Its instrumentals are classic but still innovative, amazing performances from every member of the band, on top of a both entertaining and relevant narrative, I would love for them to release another album like this, but given their constantly changing style, it's pretty unlikely. But still, I am very happy with what we've got. I'm thinking an 8+ on this album. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this album. If you enjoyed watching, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe, as well as liking and commenting. It ups engagement and just really does help me out. So thank you in advance for all that. I've got a catch-up video planned, so if there are any albums that I haven't reviewed that you want me to listen to before making that, put them below. I'll try and get around to at least listening to every single one you guys put down there, and I will see you guys later. Oh my fucking god, it's so warm!